celebratory mood. We deserve it, honestly. We do deserve a minute of respite from all the barrage. For those of you who happen to be enjoying the Muslim holiday for today and today we're going to be taking a close look at two very significant occasions that bring joy, and that was the celebration of Mother's Day yesterday, the 30th of March, and we saw people on social were taking on the role of being a mother to them, and it was so beautiful to just see women here to be celebrated. So I guess it's still safe to say happy Mother's Day to taking care of. You have people that you're nurturing. You are still a mother in our eyes. There's also, it just helps us to honor the extraordinary role that mothers play in our lives. And so we're reflecting on love, we're reflecting on sacrifices, which is why I said you don't have to be a biological mother to be considered or to be celebrated on Mother's my excitement. Also, I shouldn't forget at the FCT with dignitaries gathering to acknowledge the president's birthday. So I guess happy birthday in arrears to the president. They spoke about it yesterday at the political roundtable. But there's a lot on the front covers, which is what we're about to analyze this morning on trends in the papers on mainland 98.3 FM. Again, my name is Sage Babalola. Fᴜʟʟᴏ will soon join us via the phone to provide analysis as always. So stay tuned for another 15 minutes of newspaper review. It's Monday, which means that a lot of things are locked into the news of the president's birth, which is why before we start to review today's story, a 100,000 naira fine. Syrup kicks against 118 deaths. We've stabilized your economy. Fᴜʟʟᴏ denies ex-HOS claim of bombing assembly pipelines. Lorries, ex-HOS rattles Fᴜʟʟᴏ with alleged militant links. INC backs governor. MRS us move against reprisal as slain hunters buried. And nearly withdrew from 20, says pediatrician. And finally, for the trio, police arrest one for attacking Sanusi's entourage. Also suspend security chief over Romy killings. And over the weekend across the Guardian, the Punch, and the Vanguard newspaper. Now we're moving on to stories that have been reported this morning. Some of them happen to be papers. If you're just joining us, I welcome you once again. Happy celebration, happy holidays, happy Eid, happy Mother's Day, happy birthday to the participate on the program. Just go on to communicate with us or even respond in real. Get into the conversations for this morning. Good morning. We are waiting for Fᴜʟʟᴏ. Do well to follow us across all.com. There you can familiarize yourself with the presenters, with the programs, the number on the website that you can use. You can also listen to the programs live via others. Fᴜʟʟᴏ is here now, I believe. Good morning for you, first of all. If you're not Fᴜʟʟᴏ, it's not about you. You understand something. She always does something. So it's giving us a vibe. We will be fine. All in favor of time during the Muslim holidays, Christian, Muslim, whatever, feel us. Fᴜʟʟ will definitely make us help. Over the weekend, and I think, but the papers did report it. Remember his last name, Jᴏɪᴜ S쏘뾱ᴜ Saturday, and the report actually highlighted that he was willing to know what's going to happen following his passing, but unfortunately, we should mourn, our athletes. We should mourn people who represent extreme sports, physical, amongst other things. These sports where there's a lot of hitting and there's so winning. Father, I'd like to hear your thoughts and your
combat activity. This boxer now in very violent sporting activities like boxing. I have a friend, for example, who over the last, 5 years have contributed because of the attendant risk to the lives of the competitors. It's a lot of money that, of course, there are people who refer to, for example, how the legendary Muhammad Ali out of continuous heat on the air would take a lot of heavy punches, and at the trying with boxing. Just look at those kinds of sports, but what about the attendance risk and kinds of things that come out of it? So fantastic boxer who was a former champion, I think,
unfortunately,
God bless. So
killing that had happened in Edo Star vigilante group. So the report actually says that these were celebration of Eid, but then they were exact thing that happened with that exchange. Were unfortunately lynched, they were mobbed, and they were killed. All state, we've seen the governor as well, and Mohammed Sanusi II has all, because as you know, anytime things like this happen, and there's always the fear cam. Social media, and I know that social media is not a credible place to get any information. This incident, some people are saying that this is born killed, and so this is violent reaction. That's the provision of the Constitution. You're not supposed to. I want you to comment on this as a whole, which is why a particular incident draws us back 1,000 steps, because if a vigilante group, constitutionalize them and allow just few of the perspectives that have been analyzed or that have been brought to now be registered, and they should be fortunate incidents.
Nothing. Not even a mob action that has now died. And nothing, not a form of trial. They've not been corner in which they were released. I've always thought that, look, yes, video. It was that bad. I couldn't really take my time, to watch that entire video. And people have been putting out there.
Yeah, of course.
People have been, look, you can't justify this bad behavior. No matter how douse the tension in the land on this particular reprisal attack. That can snowball into something we are not going to be able to colleagues who are also doing everything possible. Difficult to say this is Uromi, this is Edo. It don't make any sense for you to take laws into your own hands. I would always condemn any form of mob action. In the mob, at that point, nobody thinks. Everybody's brain is why, like you said, you also brought in the conversation of, so where 5 students were also murdered. We're fortunate. We've seen situations like this in the past. And these were people, I saw. One of the guys said, look, they will add ID, look, there's insecurity, look at some issues and be very, very careful to take youth who may be doing these things.
The instigators.
Keep quiet. They are the women and mothers are also going to be the instigators. Even to roast goats in that manner, it's not going to be easy.
We're turning into murderers and we're killing people as well. Of the younger ones who actually watch the elderly ones, is that once you catch a person, you source the appropriate authority.
People who don't know how bad it is to be murdered on the suspicion of maybe a young girl for that matter. Yeah, I remember your situation very
I was mobbed. Thankfully, there was somebody that was reasonable. I'm like, oh yeah, she's a reporter, and then they apologized and everything. But I felt that was the worst day of my entire life. I did not know what was going to happen to me, and then I spoke to other journalist friends of mine.
Mothers, women that are supposed to, killing, for example, where those 5 students were killed.
Has suspended the Edo State Security Corps Friday, northern governors and his northern counter. That amongst other things, he has been very proactive anymore because they were lynched and it's a horrific. So we know who you are and all in the state, so they know who has a security structure. Vigilante groups, he has asked that it is banned amongst ever again. That is that particular report. You can actually, the Punch papers on mainland 98.3 FM, the sound.
You have 1 minute.
All right, we're going to have a conversation now about the rising cost of crude arrangement. And before we get into that, don't go anywhere.
Knowledge is power. Information is key. And that on 98.3 FM from 5 a.m. to 11 unheard. This is the Morning Express on mainland 90.
More than 265 lives have been lost to fuel tanker explosions in Nigeria. Guess what? Twice of that number have perished in the last 2 years. In more than half a decade, ask yourself, is it worth the risk? The answer is a resounding no. Scooping fuel from an overturned petrol tanker is not just risky, it is downright suicidal. Prefer putting your own life on the line to stay alive. Whenever you see an it is better to stay alive for your loved ones who depend on you than any way being otherwise. Remember,
the sound of Lagos.
Open defecation in Nigeria perpetuates a cycle of poor health, environmental degradation, and undermines human dignity of individuals who lack access to proper sanitation facilities. The stats look grim. The overall effort in providing public toilets to end this scourge, and we also encourage the citizenry to imbibe proper.
What about all the things that you said we were?
And it's good weather. You want to agree with that?
Yeah, I love weather.
Trending.
I love the life that I live. Tomorrow.
Traffic updates.
Ojoba and Church.
And everything fun is right here on mainland 98.3 FM. Don't touch that dial.
Knowledge is power. Information is key. And that is what 98.3 FM from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. as we invoke the thought-provoking discussion, tackle the tough questions, challenge assumption, and give a voice to the unheard. This is the Morning Express.
Trending music, traffic updates,
Ojaoba and Charity intersections is
everything fun is right here on Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't touch that dial.
Lock the doors of opinion, unveiling the stories that need to be told. The Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. as we invoke the thought-provoking discussion. 98.3 FM.
Welcome on board the Morning Express.
Good morning.
Welcome back. We apologize for that break. It was necessary. We gauge off the Punch newspaper regarding petrol prices likely to a deadlock is what has been reached with all negotiation. Federal government on the Naira for crude, which started in October officially ever. It was gathered on Sunday that the committee responsible for the negotiations from 860 Naira per litre to over 9 PCL and the Dangote refinery. Although earlier this month, Dangote had announced that negotiations have not been reached ahead of time. He had to announce the stopping. And so this delay, 30 in the south and I believe about 960 in the north, it really depends on marketers who had bought in bulk, who had but we were not able to reach a deal to restore that arrangement before we start talking about negotiate.
But at 9.5 naira upwards to between 9.35, 9.50 of this particular situation. Again, like you are rightly pointed, will not lapse before a renegotiation is done. But we understand the kind of stability that particular product. And so why it was, people will also think that, look, guerrilla warfare kind of marketing is the reason why the NNPCL2 modular refineries, and according to the PIA, their problem now is, why did we have to wait till 6 weeks? And let me tell you something, it's like this. As an oil producer, no matter what happens, it's from truly and ensure. But again, the reality of what has happened now, 20 products will hit the 1,000 naira market transaction. Our lives have been put on,
Well, very sad indeed. Hopefully, there's about how Dangote's operation is interfering with the arrangement between the federal government.
Is eating into their profit margin. That very wicked profit margin. We've always talked about the report that we have from these cabals. So this renegotiation was not done before the government to see what they're going to do on this one.
And $32 million loan request today. Now, the country's rising debt profile. The loans are that 2 loans expected to be approved today, including $80 million basic education for all. Continue to expand our debt. But again, there's the fear that our budget gets in the attention that it should. If we're spending, remember that a lot of loans, we have crude-backed loans that is taking our crude. Are you comfortable with what they're going to be used for, first of all?
These loans are meant for
education. Yes.
Basically, if you understand what I'm saying. Because these things I probably would have been more comfortable if these loans are tight refinery. We're using this loan, for example, to build a geothermal plant for electricity, or maybe there's a dam, that we're trying to build, to ensure that there's more handouts, family empowerment, for example, the what's it called? The other one, there's nothing really to show for it because we put this money into big things. And the idea being we will get more loans now because we're in one breath, in one side, at the same time, they are seeing the same people when you do the reforms, they tell you to so big, quote and unquote, big thing, more like borrowing more for. So it's just what it is again, but I'm sure this argument will never end just to assess some of these loans that are basically.
Should be finalized today, 638 million.
What do you mean by nutrition?
Oh, well, they're hoping to also money for, yes, according to the report. Telling us that Mudashiro wrongful removal. He says that he's not rejoined the case, although rejoined the case was part of the resolution that was offered. And
to be sworn in the second time, yes. Which means he accepted that he was used to lawyers, but I don't see the relevance of the case. Or was he removed illegally? I'm just investigation again. And the man is still in court.
In the papers on Milan 98.
Saw that as it says. If he withdraws it, how to prosecute court cases. So let them enjoy
Economic Rights and Accountability Project have asked the Senate President and the Speaker to vote in national and state decision to vote. But
Vote
now
or not to
the
vote.
National Assembly, they believe that it would address voter apathy. That is their fundamental human right of voting or civic responsibility.
They have registered to vote, and on election day they don't come out to vote. It's less than 20% of eligible voters coming out to vote. Trust again. They're up to do. They will still do what they want to do. So until you have a right, your right process with governance, give people the dividend process, and you tell people to go to. That's why you see that these days on election day they stay at home because they think that look, the electoral process is not transparent enough to ensure that their votes will count. That point, and that's why I don't know why the House of Reps. You know, they're the ones that also brought up the issue of 50 years of age.
Fuad, we actually have to go. And I'll just round up very necessary. The Lagos State Commissioner in diphtheria is on the rise and there will always be time and more programs that allows us to do